Welcome to today's episode of the Uplink. I'm Jacob Swin, the product marketing manager at Helium, and I'm here with Donovan from Kooler Farms to talk about how they are revolutionizing the cold chain storage industry and monitoring with using the Helium network. So super excited to talk about this with you guys. Donovan, thanks for being here. I'm going to do a quick little Helium intro overview, and then I will pass it off to Donovan to tell the Kooler Farms story. So Helium, if you didn't know yet, was founded in 2013 with a mission to make it easier to build decentralized wireless networks, founded by Sean Fanning and Amir Helium. And we are actually the largest decentralized wireless network in the world now. So very cool to be able to say that. And to be able to get here, we've been backed by some of the very best VC firms in the world. So we're extremely grateful to them. You see some of them here: Khosla Ventures, FirstMark, GV, formerly Google Ventures, Mark Benioff, Multicoin. A number of different people have helped out a number of different firms. But again, we're all very grateful for their help in getting to where we're at. Like I said, the network is now the largest wireless network, decentralized wireless network in the world. I updated these numbers very recently, so they should be spot on, but they're growing constantly. We're at, last I checked, over 610,000 hotspots around the world in more than 47,000 cities and 163 countries. So awesome to see this growth. We just hit 600,000, I think, last week, and we're already at over 610,000. So, the trend kind of on the Helium Explorer is for 30 days, we're averaging about 80,000 or so hotspots being onboarded. So really cool to follow that and see that. Some of the major benefits of the Helium network and why a lot of people choose to use Helium. First, low costs. You only pay based on usage. You're not subscribing, you're not signing some expensive contract or anything like that. And, if you have a lot of IoT devices out there, if you have large deployments, our costs are really low. Our standard boilerplate example is for a device that's sending data every 5 minutes over the Helium network, it costs around $1 or so per year, which is a lot cheaper than, like, say, cell alternatives and things like that. It's also really easy to use Helium to get started. You can pretty much, because it's open source, you can just any compatible off-the-shelf LoRaWAN device, you can get up and running on Helium console with that. So very simple to get started. And then I talked about open source and decentralization, but we have a really good community. We have a lot of access to open source projects, avoid things like vendor lock-in and stuff like that, like you might have with more centralized proprietary technology. So a lot of benefits. If you want to learn more about that, feel free to contact me. My info is on one of these slides here at the end too. We also have a really cool and very quickly growing ecosystem of users and partners on Helium. So we're enabling a lot of different really cool use cases, all types of asset tracking, smart water monitoring. We have cold brew coffee. We have all types of different things. So you can check that out on our ecosystem page. But again, people like Kooler Smart doing cold chain storage and monitoring and things like that. All of these different companies using the Helium network for really cool use cases and applications. So it's really fun to see that ecosystem grow. We had a really big 2021. We grew from, I believe it was about 14,000 hotspots at the beginning of 2021 to over 400,000 by the end. And like I showed you, we've already hit 600,000, and it's March 1st today. So on the roadmap for 2022, we're looking at some really big milestones here. We're looking at light hotspots. As the network grows more and more, those light hotspots are going to be really important for network stability and just allowing the network to keep scaling as quickly as it is. We are working with roaming partners and signing roaming partners. We've signed Actility, Senate, Extelia. You can read more about that on helium.com/roam. One major thing, a lot of people probably know this, but a lot of 3G networks, if they haven't already, are being sunsetted to make way for 5G. So AT&T's 3G network, I believe last week, was sunsetted. So there are a lot of reasons why people should, take a look at something like Helium rather than automatically going over to 4G, especially, for their IoT deployments. like I showed, cost wise and things like that. You can read more about that on helium.com/switch. But again, ask me any questions, contact me if you have any questions or concerns about that. And finally, Helium 5G is coming, and we're really excited about that. It's going to open up a lot of opportunities for Helium and for Helium users, and that's going to be a really big thing. So keep your eyes peeled for that on the roadmap for 2022. Some very recent news that we have. Kooler Farms, we've announced some new partners. Kooler Farms is here with us today to talk. We had an uplink with Media Sorcery last week. Like I said, Extelia is our most recent roaming announcement. And again, we hit 600,000 hotspots just last week, I believe. So really, really cool stuff happening with Helium. Definitely check it out on our website. Follow us on socials, on our Discord, everything. I'll have some links up for those resources as well at the end. But for now, that's my Helium spiel, and I'm going to hand the keys over to Donovan to tell us more about Kooler Smart and what these guys are doing.
Okay, Jacob, thank you very much for having us today. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So we wanted to talk a little about Kooler Farms today and the opportunities that we represent in the platform of cold storage and the platform of IoT, Internet of Things. Kooler Farms consists of our family of companies, and we have 3 companies inside one umbrella, let's say, and we see these 3 companies as a vital part, all 3 to work in collaboration to accomplish our goal of cold storage last mile. And our first company, Kooler Farms, we're a real estate platform first. I have a background in real estate, 25 years of real estate broker. My area of specialization is industrial real estate that really had a focus on cold storage, food grade facilities, DC facilities, big box industrial. Our second company, Kooler Smart, is our company that really focuses on the technology of the transition from, let's say, a dense, not smart cold storage to a smart cold storage that utilizes, the business logic for cold chain outcomes. And we really focus on delivering reliability and actionable data for our operators to really assess key parts of cold storage, visibility into their cold, and to make it as seamless as possible. And that really comes with the Helium platform. And then our marketplace is our exchange. This is where businesses in today's world that are evolving, like a B2B, a B2C, that need to expand their product line, their cold storage refrigeration capacity. Our marketplace is our avenue as to where introductions are made and business is done through an exchange that utilizes cold storage and technology, last mile. Then I wanted to talk a little bit about Kooler Smart and Helium, right? This is how we got to Helium, right? There's a very real story behind it. When we had started this venture into technology, it really our first lane that we got put into, that was the only lane available at the time, was big tech, AWS platform versus, a Helium connectivity. And what the cost of this really looked like. In the beginning, for us, going through an AWS big tech, big cloud layout, at the end of the day, when prices came back, the price point to really move this platform forward was outside of the reach of mid-market companies. When we were going to deploy it, it would be a model where it would literally, in our world, we call it dead on arrival, where the pricing, in our IoT, we're small data, small packets, and it didn't need to come with a very sophisticated, expensive cloud platform. And it didn't need to come with developers that were very focused on hours of development in lieu of application and platform. And we learned some hard lessons. You know, we went through a lot of development, a lot of testing, and a lot of expense, you know, finding out really what our price point, how we could deliver technology, IoT, the Internet of Things. And then Helium came along, and Helium was a game changer for Kooler Farms, where Helium allowed us to seamlessly integrate into a cast of characters who understood IoT, who understood the development of it, and really got us to a point to where we could deliver it at a price point where all mid-market companies could participate. And they also really got the understanding that our goal and our focus was not to deliver an industrial, sophisticated, complicated, expensive platform. We wanted to really design and develop simplicity in a model where cold and tech could come together, and it would seamlessly integrate, and it would be simple, and it wouldn't take a lot of time, where it was a plug and play model for cold storage and the technology. And Helium really brought that speed to market to us, right? In our world, it's all about speed to market. And speed to get it in, speed to get it out. And our development really just took off. You know, we hit like a lightning rod. We were introduced to Helium, the speed of market, to develop a dashboard, to deploy hardware into a market that was simplified and easy to execute, was really where the Internet of Things came into our world and became very real. Once we accomplished understanding that we can now deliver IoT at a price point where our end users would utilize it, then we were able to really backtrack into how we saw modern cold storage, how we saw modern cold, where it would be a platform, you know, prior to 2020 or, you know, up until the last couple of years. Cold storage, it's big, right? And respectfully, it's just a refrigerator wasn't that smart. You know, we called it, you know, it's a dense box. It was just cold. And we felt to execute the last mile, to really find a business solution to put cold storage into the last mile, we had to make the refrigeration smart. And we had to be able to introduce the Internet of Things into refrigeration at a price point, again, where everybody could participate. And speed to market, right? If you're going to go build a big box cold storage facility, you're talking years of timeline and $50 to $100 million to get a conversation going. Kooler Farms represented a lane now to where utilizing Helium, the Internet of Things, to be able to make the cold storage smart, now we could back into what we knew best. And that was the real estate, as to how we could execute going into, let's say, an urban infill market where all the rooftops are, where a lot of refrigeration is needed, where big box can't go. How do we get in there and execute? And that's something that we really understood, having that real estate background, to be able to get into an infill market and what we call the utilization of, let's say, fractured real estate or in-place infrastructure, to where we could go and, you know, essentially lay out a concrete pad, drop 10,000 square feet of 1,000 square foot best-in-class cold storage boxes, was how we saw the last mile cold storage. The process of getting into an older building, revitalizing an older warehouse and turning it into refrigeration, that value proposition, when you got into the numbers, they don't pencil out. Very, very expensive to do, and takes a lot of time to do it. And the investor pool, they're not in love with it, let's say. So then Now we had our real estate in place, we have our smart in place, and then it was the overall assessment as to where the market was, why we're here, and where it was going. You know, e-commerce had really started to gain its stride, right? Where the growth of e-commerce, you know, the smartphone, the apps, everybody was moving towards a direction of same-day delivery. You know, Amazon next-day delivery became same-day delivery, became 2-hour delivery, and the growth had really started. And that really put a lot of stress on traditional big box cold storage. Weren't really prepared on how to get from the outside, far out, into the last mile in under 2 hours. You need rocket ships to do it. And it just wasn't feasible, wasn't economical. There's limited development in cold storage. It's very capital intensive to do. You're talking $300–400 a foot, like I said, $50 to $100 million investments, which is, you know, a significant investment. The other thing to it is that in real estate, we always look at, in the event of, you know, it goes dark, it goes bad, then what? To repurpose an existing cold storage facility, not easy to do, right? You're into a building for $300 a foot, and the exit strategy might be $100 a foot. So the investment world wasn't really bullish on speculative development, cold storage. And a couple of years ago, United States sat 100 million square feet short, coolers and freezers, and still kind of had these crossroads where, how do we go build it? So unless you're a credit tenant with a lot of capital and they're building it for themselves. And then a lot of the existing cold storage in the market's old and outdated. The average size is about 250,000 square feet, and they're 20 to 30 years old. They're not built to today's standards on technology and energy as well. Very expensive to operate. And then they also have a hard problem with the workforce. The workforce in freezers and coolers, they have a very high turnover rate, right? It's not everybody likes working in a freezer, kind of a 10-hour shift. It's not, right. It's not, you know, it gets old, let's say, right? So from talking to, you know, large cold storage operators, one of their biggest challenges is their workforce, the retention rate of workforce cold box. And that was very strategic in our thought process of, when we get into the last mile, now that we got the technology, we have best-in-class cold, how do we make it to where a workforce will celebrate it instead of not, right? Our farms are an open-air application to where the workforce doesn't have to work in a freezer for 10 hours a day, right? The workforce is a mission-critical, small boutique facility, you know, and they're more receiving, personalized, humanized to our customers in lieu of not. So the last mile evolution has really started to really catch, where it was a lot of conversation, but nobody really came into the market with a real solution that checked a lot of boxes. One of utilization, flexibility, is it financeable? Like a lot of things that Kooler Farms went through, a lot of underwriting process to really understand that we could get into the last mile, we can deliver best-in-class cold, it's smart, and it delivers exactly what's needed, and we can do it seamlessly in a very short period of time. Then the disruption came. The world got shut down, right? Just as we're building our momentum, getting ready to deploy into the market, mandate shutdowns come down, right? Major disruption on a global, national level. E-commerce goes from slowly growing, right, to just full speed ahead, digital assets, digital marketing, work from home, everybody had to have it now. And the new point of purchase became the smartphone on the app, and we want it now, right? I want to order from local restaurant, right? Through the disruptions, a new category was built inside of cold storage. Big box was just too slow, couldn't adapt to the last mile and really getting into where the customers have accepted and what they want on their point of purchase. So there was always your front door, let's say a restaurant as an example, where everybody would come into the front door, they'd have their meal, pick up their takeout, and go about their business. When the disruptions came into the market, that front door shut down, it went dark. Everything started happening in the back door, Jacob. And nobody really understood what that represented and how much growth and income was in the back door. With the gig workers, with the DoorDash, with the Uber Eats, and they all focused on coming into the front door, pick it up, and we'll deliver it to your front door. But the stress that it created on the refrigeration capacity needed to function on a day-to-day basis, it outgrew the refrigeration capacity of a normal operation. It didn't have enough refrigeration to backfill the product or visibility to understand what a day-to-day operation is going to look like. Nobody's coming into the front door. It was all back door now. And that was a new category. And in our view, that category strength is last mile, right? If you are in an area, urban infill, a lot of rooftops, you're going to order online and you want it delivered, that's a backdoor operation for a kitchen to now manufacture and get out the back door. That's when my view, when IoT, because IoT, Internet of Things, has been really talked about for a period of time. And it wasn't really accessible to small to medium-sized companies, right? Like the price point of it, just nobody thought they could get to it. It was a big business for big cloud, for big tech. But with Helium and the Internet of Things now being into the market, it's now adopted. And now companies like Kooler Farms, Kooler Smart, we can see the technology now, and we can create innovation behind it to really get into markets of our expertise and leverage that technology into things of need, let's say.
Donovan, when did you guys kind of run across Helium? Like, when did you start looking into Helium? You're talking about post 2020 and IoT. When did Helium kind of come on your radar?
That's great. Really, when the disruptions came, right? It was kind of like we had an opportunity to kind of slow down. Everybody now was, working from home, let's say, and it was a time period where we could really kind of slow down and see what opportunities were out there. And we had known, and we had really had discovery coming in on big tech, big cloud was not going to be able to deliver a price point where everybody could participate. And that's when Helium, Jacob, you tell me, when the disruptions came into the market, Helium went from X amount of hotspots to, 100X. What do you think created that?
It's just a lot of word of mouth and kind of our grassroots, and again, the need for this type of thing and people seeing that, hey, Helium works. Helium is a much more cost-effective solution than a lot of these, like you said, like Cell or big tech companies to do IoT deployments. And it's been awesome. Like you said, it's went from like I said, 14,000 at the beginning of 2021 to over 600,000 today. So the growth has been enormous because of that.
Yeah, that's really amazing, right? That type of growth really resonates through all of it, right? Your growth, I'm an operator that wants to utilize the IoT, right? I think part of the workforce working from home, people started thinking about doing different things, starting new companies, and that growth in e-commerce, that growth in the explosion of where the point of sale is now, in my view, has really just brought a lot of new opportunities into the market.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
And we got, and without you, right, a lot of companies like Kooler Farms doesn't exist because that price point was unknown. The only known was big tech, big cloud, big number. So then we get into the benefits of what modern cold tech IoT can do for, you know, an operator, right? It really delivers reliability and visibility. It transitions refrigeration from dense to smart. And in a way where we're not putting high-tech computers in refrigeration, right? We're putting a wireless application, seamless application inside of a refrigerator that really shows visibility now of your refrigeration. Up until now, that door closed, it's a dark refrigerator. Now you can communicate to it. Now you can be in, I don't know, up in New York and have refrigeration down in Miami and seamlessly can see what your fleet looks like. I look at refrigeration as a fleet, because there are a lot of operators that operate, I don't know, let's say like a restaurant chain, where they could have 20 or 30 restaurants in 3 or 4 different states and have 40 or 50, refrigeration coolers or freezers. And they had no visibility on that. They couldn't see that. Keeping up with risk mitigation, right? A lot of issues, a lot of expense comes to the table when refrigeration breaks down. And that's where we really saw, for us to go to the last mile, it had to be smart and it had to have reliability and visibility. There was no way that we could expand it, and there was no way that you could deliver bulk in order and not be able to see it or rely on it, right? And that's really where we got to. The decentralization, like I talked about it, where you could have multiple chains, multiple operations going, and you could be at your desk, in your car. All you got to do is hop on your phone and you could see it. Temperature management equals savings, no doubt. To get some awareness prior to refrigeration breaking is a good thing. Kooler Smart application. It's simple, it's actionable. Prior to Helium, as we were going through our beta and our testing, our biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenges was it was just complicated. It just looked too complicated. And if you didn't hire a full-time IT person to manage it, it was a waste of time. And I thought that was a great value, me being in real estate, not IT, not engineering, to be able to get in there and say, look, it has to be on a retail level. It has to come in, just tell me what I need to know, right? And that's where we can have real-time data. It could send you alerts, right? An email, phone notification. That early warning system is critical in refrigeration. And the Internet of Things can deliver that, on so many levels. There's so much AI intelligence in refrigeration that we're currently uncovering now. The predictability and management of refrigeration and what that truly can represent, besides just being cold or not. This is just a dashboard just to give you a quick snapshot of what our fleet management looks like with the utilization of a simple 5-year temperature humidity controlled sensor. No drilling, no screwing. Goes right onto the indoor, in or out of the refrigerator, and your temperature, your status, and the fleet. Really, you can see it right there. It's seamless. So your speed to market, I need IoT, I need development. No, you don't. Helium and the IoT have done that for us. All you got to do is adopt into it. And I think as more and more end users see the simplicity where it doesn't need to be that complicated, will be of great value to a lot of operators. Dealer management.
Donovan?
Yes.
Jacob asked the question earlier that I think is appropriate to answer right now. You said, what was our time frame? Once we got Helium. Prior to our introduction to Helium, we were working close to 16 to 18 months on a system with developers, multiple developers. We got introduced to Helium in November of last year. We have now completed our system, onboarding different sensors, and are ready to go to market within a 4-month period. I think that says something.
But no doubt,
Yeah, no,
that's at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, I think that's really important because we've talked a lot about cost, but just how quick you guys have been able to do this just because of Helium. So yeah, awesome to hear that. Thank you, Glenn.
So the Kooler Smart application will, on top of your visibility, flexibility, comes with all the alerts, the report management. The reports are nice too, because the reports give you visibility of your refrigeration inspection, right? When an inspector comes to your door to be able to hand them a report, that's a celebration for them, right? So you have really visibility, you can really see, off hours, on hours, work towards energy savings. There's a lot of AI inside refrigeration. And these reports and this IoT model will really start to really innovate and expose really a lot of things that are inside of it that people just didn't have visibility on. It's also in a mobile application where we have a iOS and Android mobile app. So seamless integration, pop it on your phone, put it on your app, and it'll come to you. Decentralization. This was the core of Kooler Farms. Kooler Farms, whole thing was not to be big box, although big box is an amazing platform and very, very much needed, right? You need these 1 million square foot facilities, you gotta have it. And we're an application that can help advance what big box needs, that infill market, right? That infill cold, where somebody needs something, it's on your back door or close by that could get to you. And we can put it anywhere, any place, anytime. Our boxes, our cold storage is, they're outdoor designed, they're mechanical, they are built in the United States, customized. We could do coolers, we could do freezers, we could split them in one side cooler, one side of freezer, and we could have it to you in, I don't know, 12 weeks, 16 weeks. And if a farm is set up in the neighborhood near you, you got to know. And to have the ability to get into an industrial grade refrigeration that can hold pallets, that can hold freezer, hold different product lines with full visibility is how we saw Kooler Farms and Kooler Smart, to be a decentralized platform, 10,000 square foot at a time in your neighborhood. And we really work to build our farms as a humanized application where it looks good, it feels good, it works great, and it's last mile. That's what we represent, Jacob.
That's awesome. Thank you, Donovan. Can you talk, I know you've mentioned like Kooler Farms and Kooler Smart a few times here. Can you kind of talk about how the two work together? I know you've touched on this a little bit, but just kind of explain for people, because behind you it says Kooler Smart, here it says Kooler Farms, just so people understand kind of the synergy between them.
Yeah, so Kooler Farms is like the real estate platform that gets us into the last mile, right? That, you know, we're talking to an operator, let's say, and maybe they have real estate assets and they need to identify locations and they need to expand their refrigeration, right? We're a solutions company. So Kooler Farms will get in there, will underwrite what needs to be accomplished, right? And then execute a plan from that conversation. That's Kooler Farms. And then Kooler Smart is the technology. Kooler Smart is our IoT technology that goes into all refrigeration now at a price point where everybody can participate.
Perfect. That makes sense. How about you've mentioned this term a few times, just speed to market, cold storage. And, you know, I mean, I think we can kind of figure out like speed to market, obviously, but how you guys look at it, what does that kind of mean to Kooler Farms? Just that speed to market, cold storage phrase you've said a few times.
So that's a great question. So there's different ways to look at speed to market, right? The first one would be, how long will it take me to go develop a cold storage facility, right? That speed to market is, I don't know, 3 years. But if you're a cheesecake manufacturer in New York and you have an opportunity to grow your business down in Miami, and what's holding you back is refrigeration, right? Because there's zero availability of it, Kooler Farms can deliver that refrigeration that you need immediately. We could get you where you could take on the business and go start growing your market share. The visibility on the dashboard is seamless. You have full visibility on the tech side. And then to get the cold side accomplished, we're not going through a 3-year process. We can execute that plan immediately.
Gotcha. Real fast, before I ask any more questions, Donovan, do you have a slide with some contact info on here so we can have it up so people can look in if they want to get in touch with you? Perfect.
Yeah, there's a slide, my contact information on there, and our QR code that'll take you to our website. All my contact information is there as well.
Yeah, and if people don't get this now, this will go up on our YouTube channel, on the Helium YouTube channel in the next 24 to 48 hours. Donovan, I wanted to ask you just in terms of Helium, and I talked about kind of our 2022 roadmap a little bit. Are there specific things that you and Kooler Farms are really excited about with Helium that's going to, you see like really helping your business and what you're doing?
Absolutely, the coverage. Right, so you bring cloud, you bring coverage, and it's really exciting to see, you know, multiple sides of end users coming into Helium. Right, you have your investors that are buying gateways and setting up gateways. Right, the people's network. Right, it's blockchain technology. Super excited about that. And then there's a synergy where I see Helium as a decentralized model as well. So it just feels really good to work with companies that have, you know, comparable alignments. But the biggest thing is you deliver cloud and connectivity for us. And not just on a national level too. A global refrigeration is global, right? And we can deliver our refrigeration on a global level as well, right? So it's nice to see that the people's network, right? People have a voice, they make decisions. I mean, look what you did. You went from 10,000 hotspots to 600,000 hotspots. That puts us in position to go into any market, any place, anytime.
Wow, that's perfect. That leads into my next question. I was going to ask about like expansion goals and things you guys are looking to do in the future with Helium. And it sounds like, you know, you can talk a little bit about that maybe, or at least tease some of it.
So our model is our customers are going to take us to where we're going to go where they need to be, right? We're headquartered out of South Florida, right? Where, you know, in the Sunshine State, refrigeration's a great thing, right?
I'm sure, yeah.
Big economy down here, and they love freezers.
Yeah.
But really, if you're an operator and you have a chain and you're 1,500 stores, that's our speed to market. We'll go where our customers need us to go. And you deliver the connectivity that allows us to do that. We can go into any market. We're not building cell phone towers. We're not tapped into big tech, big data. we're tapped into Helium, and we could create connectivity anytime we need to. And if it's already there, we'll utilize it.
Gotcha. Real fast, I'm going to share my screen, Donovan, just to get some of my contact info up here for people. Again, if you didn't take Donovan's info down, this will be up on our YouTube channel. But Donovan, I want to thank you. And before we leave, I want to make sure everyone knows where to get in touch with us at Helium if they have any questions and, talk more about things like Kooler Farms. You can contribute and take a look at our GitHub. Twitter, we're very active and posting a lot of updates and things like that on there. We have over 150,000 members on our Discord. Donovan, are you guys on our Discord, on the Helium Discord?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, it's a great place it's a great resource, isn't it? A lot of smart people out there like contributing and helping out and answering questions.
No doubt. The synergy in there is amazing, right? The cast of characters that Helium has introduced us to is phenomenal.
Cast of characters, a good way of putting it. Yes, but a lot of very helpful people in there. And then if anyone wants to get in touch with me, my email is right there, jacob@helium.com. Mark Phillips is our vice president of biz dev, mark@helium.com. You want to reach out to him as well for any questions you might have. Donovan, thank you guys for coming on and talking about this. And we're excited to keep working with Kooler Farms and see what you guys have in store on the Helium network.
Thank you, Jacob. Really appreciate the opportunity today.
Absolutely. We'll see everyone on the next Uplink. Thanks for coming today. Appreciate it.